How's everybody doing this evening? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. And tonight what I have for everyone is my full review of the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, typically how my review process goes, I shoot my unboxing and first impressions video. Then when I feel like I got a handle on everything I want to talk about and cover with you guys and gals, then it's full review time. So that being said, without further ado, let's jump into this full review. Now, I know I said in the unboxing and first impressions of the case and tempered glass screen protector that y'all see on this device that I would cover that in the full review, but in the for the sake of speed, I'm gonna go ahead and make that review a separate dedicated video. So we're not gonna cover the tempered glass and screen protector in this review. We're just gonna focus mainly on my thoughts and opinions about the device itself. That being said, for the sake of safety and the fact that I'm very clumsy, we're going to leave the tempered glass and the screen protector on for the duration of this review. So, again, without further ado, let's jump into this full review of the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite. Now, starting off, the first thing I want to talk about with you guys and gals is the overall build quality and design on this device. Now, talking about the overall build quality, there's no rattling or creaking of any kind on this device. All the buttons are very tactile and give me a nice, responsive, and clicky feedback to them. Whoops. And that's why we got the case and screen protector, y'all. So, in terms of the overall build quality on this device, I have to say it's top notch, and Xiaomi has done a great job. Now, talking about the design of this device, again, this is where I say Xiaomi has done a great job. Now, the device actually has a metal, plastic, and glass design, and it actually has a very nice weight in the hands and a very good feel in the hands as well. And if I had to tell you guys my preferences, for those of you that are new to the channel, I actually prefer metal or grippy rubber plastic backed devices. I'm not a big fan of glass devices because those devices are extremely slippery, and one good drop and glass devices can be broken for good. Whereas with metal or grippy rubber plastic device, it can withstand a few drops, thus making it more durable. So in terms of design, I have to say again, Xiaomi has done a great job with this one. So the build quality and design here is top notch indeed. Now, moving on, let's talk about the display. And if I make any mistakes, I'll be sure to throw up some corrections in post. Now, talking about the display on this device, up front, dead center here, we have a 5.8 inch IPS LCD display, and in particular, I know everybody can see it, this is a notch display with the 19:9 aspect ratio, and this particular device has a display with a 432 pixel per inch screen density. Alright, so for all of you guys and gals who like to know the actual numbers behind the display, there it is. Now let's get to talking about the display in terms of daily use. Now, in terms of daily use, I have to say that this is a really good 1080p display, and I haven't had any issues. Now, outdoors, I tend to keep this display anywhere from about 50% to 75%. Indoors, I tend to keep this display at anywhere about 15 to 25%, and I have to say this display gets really bright, as you guys and gals can see. It's a really solid display. So in terms of the display on this device, again, it is top notch. Now, keeping it moving, let's dive a little bit deeper into the hardware and software on this device. let's go ahead and start off with the hardware. Now, hardware wise, this device is packing 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal onboard storage with micro SD card expansion, and you do have the ability to make that micro SD card adaptable, expandable storage. So you do have the ability to make your micro SD card internal storage for your device. That being said, I do recommend that you use a high quality card if you want to do that, because if you do not, then you'll get that error like you guys and gals saw in the unboxing video. Turns out the SD card that I'm using in this device is not fast enough to be used for internal storage. So that's why I kept getting that error message, external storage has stopped. Now, for those of you who do get that error message, one of the ways to fix that is to go into the stock recovery on your device and wipe the cache for your whole system. Now, if your stock recovery does not have a wipe cache function similar to the stock recovery on this device, then your only other option is to do a complete factory data reset and then reformat the card as portable, or get a more high performance card and your issue should be solved. But talking more about the other hardware in this device, we have a 4000 milliamp hour battery on board, which provides some really great battery life. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later on in the video. We have dual rear mounted cameras, one 12 megapixel primary sensor up top here, and one 5 megapixel secondary depth sensor used for bokeh and portrait mode effects. Now, the primary camera on the back, the 12 megapixel sensor, is capable of recording up to 4K video or 2K video at 30 frames per second and doing 720p 100 frames per second slow motion. All right, then we have our fingerprint sensor, which is a capacitive sensor and is really fast and responsive. So there you go. If I just tap, it unlocks. The device could be off, tap, and it unlocks. So it's a really solid fingerprint sensor, and it pretty much works without issues. Now, one thing that I do want to mention with the fingerprint sensor, sometimes if the device is in a deep sleep, you kind of got to wake it up and then tap the fingerprint sensor, and then when you turn it off and tap, it'll work. But if your device is in a deep sleep, sometimes it won't register that you touched the sensor. So I do want to point that out. Other than that, the fingerprint sensor on this device is pretty good. Now, jumping over to the front, up top, we have our light and proximity sensors and a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, which is capable of recording up to 1080p videos at 30 frames per second. And we also have our built-in receiver up top. Inside of that nice little notch cutout, it is what it is. This seems to be what all the manufacturers are leaning towards now these days. First they were in the 16:9, then they were in the 18:9. Now they're either going completely bezel-less or they're giving you that little notch cutout at the top. It is what it is. Now, underneath that, again, we have our 5.8.4 inch IPS LCD display, which is a 1080p display. And other internals, diving deeper into the internals, we have a Snapdragon 625 octa-core processor and an Adreno 506 GPU powering the show for this whole device. We also have one bottom firing speaker, which you guys and gals will get to hear a little bit later on in the video, and one bottom firing microphone, as well as one noise canceling microphone up top as well. And sadly, this device does not have USB Type-C. It is micro USB charging on this device, but it is what it is. All right, so that pretty much goes over all of the hardware on this device. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into the software. Now, in terms of the software, this device is running a completely stock build of Android 8.1.0 Oreo. And a neat thing about this device is that it's doing that on the Android One program. So if I swipe down here, you can see we have a completely stock experience. And if I dive into the settings here and go to System and then go to About Device, you can see we are indeed running the latest version of Android that's commercially available in the 8.1.0 Oreo, and we are doing it on the latest security patch that is currently available in the October 5th, 2018 security patch, which is the latest security patch available as of the recording of this video. So that's a really nice touch. And one of the neat things about having an Android One device is that you're guaranteed security patch updates for 3 years, and you're guaranteed at least 2 major system updates. Other than that, it's an extremely stock experience. All right. The only customization that I've done to this device is I am running the rootless pixel launcher on it. And I know some of you guys may be saying, oh, you usually run these devices stock during your review period. And that is true. But this is a very big device, and I have little hands. And one of my favorite gesture features is to swipe down from anywhere on the home screen to get into the notification shade. And out of the box stock, the stock launcher didn't have that. The only gesture that the stock launcher had was the double tap of the power button to launch the camera. So I needed to find a launcher that keeps everything pretty much stock, but doing that feature. And stock pixel launcher, rootless pixel launcher is the way to go for that. So other than that, we have a completely stock device here. Now, bumpy cam, sorry y'all. Now, talking about the software in terms of the day-to-day performance, I have to say it has been extremely snappy, and I have little to no issues. And really, the only glitch that I've run into with this device is that when I have a bunch of apps open and I launch Twitter and I go to launch something via an external link, I will get a black screen for a few seconds, and then I just have to push back, and then everything works how it's supposed to. And I noticed that glitch only happens in Twitter. So I'm not entirely sure what the issue is. Maybe I have to update my Twitter app. Who knows? Other than that, the only other issue that I had with this device is with a ton of apps open in the background, switching between apps, I do notice that I get the occasional app hiccup and app slowdown. And that's pretty much standard for Android devices. Now, something that helps with that, I believe, is the 4 gigs of RAM, but it's still going to happen regardless. And on average, I've run about 17 to 21 apps. So I am a pretty heavy user, and that's on a daily basis. But other than that, the overall software performance via a daily basis user standpoint is pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Up next now, I just want to go over the Wi-Fi and do a little Wi-Fi performance test for you guys. Now, talking about the Wi-Fi on this device has Wi-Fi 802.11, BGNN, and AC. Alright? And really, what does that mean for those of you who don't know? That means that this device supports your 2.4 gigahertz band and your 5 gigahertz band. So as long as you have a router that lets you take advantage of either one of those bands, whether it be at work or at home, you should be good to go. And in terms of the overall Wi-Fi performance, as you guys and gals can see from the numbers here, the Wi-Fi performs extremely well. Now, talking about the data performance for a little bit, it performs just as well, even though throughout my testing, you guys and gals could see, if I scroll through here, the data performance numbers are not the best. But this is where I have to say, guys, at the end of the day, numbers are just numbers, and what really matters is how the device performs overall in daily usage. And I'm very happy to report that whether I was on Wi-Fi or on data, this device performed really, really good, and I had little to no issues. All right, so that's that. But I know what everyone's here for. You guys want to see a live Wi-Fi performance test, so let's go ahead and launch YouTube here. Whoops, did I hit the wrong button? All right, let's go up here. And this test will also double as a dedicated speaker test as well. So you guys and gals will get to see how these speakers perform. So let's just go ahead and let this load up. All right, give me 1 second. I hope YouTube ain't having its issues tonight. Because for those of you who don't know, YouTube did actually go down a couple days ago, but it looks like they seem to have fixed the issue. Let me pause this real quick. So now we're going to go ahead and do a dedicated Wi-Fi performance test, which will also double as our speaker test as well. So I'm going to let it play for a little bit, then we're going to scrub through the video to demonstrate the Wi-Fi performance, and then we're going to keep it moving, and I'm going to let you guys and gals know how I feel about the overall speaker performance. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and be quiet now so y'all can enjoy this portion of the video. Enjoy, everyone. And let's go ahead and push play. Max out the volume. Stuff. There we go. Alright, so there you guys and gals go. A real quick Wi-Fi performance test and a real quick speaker test for you guys. Now, how do I feel about the bottom firing speaker on this device? First off, I have to tell you guys, honestly, I am not a big fan of the placement. You guys know I'm a big advocate for front-facing speakers. But that being said, in terms of the overall quality and the volume, I have to say that this bottom firing speaker is pretty good, but it is easily muffled. And I did notice throughout my testing and throughout my review process that this particular speaker on this device doesn't really come alive till you get it above 50%, and it's not really pumping good till it's at about 75%, which is similar to a lot of other bottom firing speakers that I tested, but it is what it is. All right. Also, feel free to let me know what you guys and gals think of the overall speaker performance or any part of this video down below in the comments. You guys know all opinions are welcome. It is what it is. Let's keep it moving. Up next now, let's go ahead and go over the LTE and GSM bands supported in this device. Now, for those of you who did not know, this is a GSM only device. So this bad boy will only work on carriers like T-Mobile, which you can see there, it is working on T-Mobile right now, AT&T, Cricket, Metro PCS, so on and so forth. Okay? Alright, and now this bad boy, as I mentioned in the unboxing and first impressions video, does have dual SIMs and a dedicated micro SD card slot. Now, I'm still in the process of testing whether or not this device can support dual LTE, so 2 LTE SIMs at one time. That was a viewer request. I'm in the process right now of getting another dedicated GSM SIM so I could test that, and I will come out with another dedicated video letting y'all know whether or not this device supports dual LTE from both SIMs. So y'all be on the lookout for that. But let's get into the bands on this device. And pretty much if you have these bands, or you make sure your carrier supports these bands, you should be good to go. So let me get it nice and close here. Now if it is blurry, or I look at the video and it's blurry after the fact, I will throw up a screenshot in post so y'all can see it nice crystal clear. Now pretty much if your carrier supports any of these bands you see on the screen, or any of these LTE bands, you should be good to go. In particular with T-Mobile, which is what I'm using this device on, as long as the phone had band 2, band 4, and band 7, I knew I was going to be good to go, and it actually works without issue. Oops, looks like I got a little notification there. It actually works without issue as long as I am within a proper coverage area. So that pretty much does it for the bands on this bad boy. Now the only downside is that this is not globally unlocked. It's GSM only. And you guys know, again, I'm a big advocate for globally unlocked devices. Globally unlocked devices could work on any carrier. And I'm talking about devices like the Essential phone. I'm talking about devices like my Samsung Galaxy S8, which I'm using to record this video right now. Those are globally unlocked devices, and pretty much I can get a SIM card from anywhere, drop it in, and it should be good to go. At most, the most I would have to do is probably configure APNs in the data usage section. But that's the beauty of having a globally unlocked device, because then you can't get tied down to any one carrier. And that's also a beauty of having an unlocked device in general, because now I'm not going to be tied down by anybody. But it is what it is. It's GSM only. Sometimes that's what you have to live with, but let's keep it moving. So up next now, the next thing I want to talk about with you guys and gals is the overall Bluetooth performance on this bad boy. All right. Now, in terms of the Bluetooth on this device, this particular device has Bluetooth 4.2 connectivity in it, or technology in it, and I'm very happy to report that the Bluetooth on this device works without issue. And as you guys and gals can see, I pretty much connected up every Bluetooth device that I own to this device, aside from some of my cell phones. Now, I did connect up 1 or 2 to pass photos and videos back and forth for editing purposes, and it still worked without issue. So the Bluetooth is important to me because I'm trying to live that hashtag wireless lifestyle. So no plug-in headphones, all Bluetooth everything. Y'all know how it is. We don't like to snag no cables around here. So having a good performing Bluetooth in a device is a must, and I'm very happy to report that this device delivers that no problem. So the Bluetooth on here is top notch indeed. Now, moving on. The next thing I want to talk about, and again, probably another important component of a device, specifically when I'm thinking about making a device my daily driver, it needs to have a really good quality version of one of these. And what am I talking about, you guys and gals may ask? I'm talking about the overall GPS performance. So let me just pull up my last screenshot for you guys, and we're going to talk about this. Now, in terms of the GPS performance, again, this device performed phenomenally, and I didn't have any issues whenever I was doing anything that had to do with taking advantage of the GPS module in this device. Didn't have any issues. So turn-by-turn navigation, geotagging, whatever, it all worked phenomenally, and I had no problems. And for those of you that don't know, the reason why this is so important to me is because I rely on the GPS very heavily and daily, okay? Daily. So I really need a device with a solid GPS, and this device delivers. So if you're very GPS dependent like myself, and you wanted to know if the GPS on this device is any good, no need to worry. Now let's keep it moving. Up next now, let's go ahead and talk about the call quality and speaker call quality through the built-in receiver and the built-in loudspeaker on this device. Now, as I said, throughout my review process, I tested this guy on T-Mobile's network. That's the only GSM carrier that I have at the moment. It will not work with my CDMA Verizon Straight Talk SIM card, so I was stuck using T-Mobile only. And I have to say, as long as I was within a proper coverage area, it worked without issue. That being said, when I was taking calls through the built-in receiver on this device, they were very crisp and clear, but through the receiver itself, I felt that I wanted it to be a little bit louder, at least on my end. Callers said they had no issues hearing me on their end, and I was very loud, crisp, clear, and loud. But at least on my end of the conversation, I just wanted a little bit more volume out of the onboard receiver. That being said, when we talk about speaker call performance, I have to say this device performed phenomenally. Calls taken via the onboard speaker on this device were very loud, crisp, and clear, and I didn't have any issues. So the speaker calls were good. The receiver calls can use a little bit more volume. Now, let's keep it moving. This will be the portion of the video where I talk about the camera performance and walk y'all through the dedicated camera interface. Now, I decided to break that up into its own separate video, so I'll go ahead and throw a card up here or over there, and I'll put the links down below in the video description as well to the dedicated camera video where I went ahead and walked through all of the camera interface in full detail, and I provided photo samples and video samples on all of the cameras on this device, whether it was the front-facing camera, the rear-facing camera, a large majority of the modes, so on and so forth. So feel free to check that out if you want to see the overall camera performance on this device. That being said, how do I feel about the cameras in general? In general, I would have to say that the cameras on this device are pretty good. But that's with some caveats. As long as you make sure that you have a steady hand, or as steady as you possibly can, and you have proper light to get a good image of what you're trying to record, whether it be via photos or videos, then you should be able to take some really good shots with this camera or with the cameras on this device. That being said, if you have shaky hands or you don't have adequate light, then you're probably not going to get the best pictures on this device. But for the price, which is something we're going to talk about in a little bit, I feel like the cameras on this device are pretty good indeed. So let's keep it moving. Now, this is the part of the video where we would talk about the dedicated gaming performance. But again, I went ahead and provided a separate dedicated gaming video, which I'll probably leave a card to up here or over there. And I'll also throw the links to it down below in the video description, where I tested some of my favorite Android games. And I made a nice little video complete with music and everything for you guys. So go ahead and check that out if you want to see how this device performs in terms of the gaming performance. Spoiler, it performs really good, even for the mid-range to entry-level processor that's in here and GPU that's in here. But check those out down below in the video description or via the cards if you want to learn more about the cameras or the overall gaming performance. Now let's keep it moving. Up next now, let's go ahead and go over the benchmarks on this device. And one thing I want you guys and gals to keep in mind, again, is internally we are packing a Snapdragon 625 octa-core processor and an Adreno 506 GPU. Now, I'm not a big fan of benchmarks anymore because it seems like any decent manufacturer has figured out how to make a smooth, fluid, and snappy device. And really all we need to be concerned about as end users is the right combination of hardware and software that equates to an overall fluid and smooth device, which I'm very happy to report this device delivers in spades. But for those of you that like to see the raw performance data, we're going to go ahead and run through this quick, fast, and in a hurry. So this is the 3D Mark Ice Storm Unlimited test, and you can see the Mi A2 Lite here scored a 13,774, which is not bad for the chipset, and you're probably going to hear that a lot through this segment. This is the Antutu benchmark test here, and you can see it scored a 78,014, which isn't great, but it's decent. Alright, this is the Geekbench 4 benchmark here, and you can see it scored a 852 on the single core and a 4,220 on the multi-core. Now that's a really good multi-core score there, so not bad at all. Single core scores, but you know what it is. Now, we already covered the GPS. Now, this is the Valemo Metal test, and this benchmark isn't even featured on the Play Store anymore, but I still like to feature it because I like how it benchmarks the device in general. It really does stress it and pop out a really nice score there. So you can see for the Mi A2 Lite, it actually scored middle of the pack here with a 1,449, which is pretty good, again, for the chipset. And now this is the Valemo multi-core test, and you can see it scored top of the pack with a 2,307, which is really good. Now, I've seen better, but for what this device is, that's really good. And lastly, this is the Disco Mark multitasking benchmark, and pretty much what this benchmark does is it allows me to select any app on my device. It will cycle through set apps and then spit out an average time that the device took to get through all the apps, which is what you see here. And it also spits out individual dedicated times for each app as well. So if you wanted to see your individual app load times, you could do that with this app. That being said, as you guys can see, this device scored a really great time with an average time of 7.194 seconds. And one thing about this benchmark is it runs through it an average of 5 times before it comes up with that score there. So that's really, really good. That's not the fastest device that I've featured, but it's pretty close. And again, for the chipset and loadout that's in here, that was really, really surprising. That being said, I really kept an eye on the multitasking while this benchmark was running, and this is why I would say that the 4 gigs of RAM really helps out this device. Because I found that, every middle run, the apps were kept in memory. So like the second run, the apps loaded up real quickly, and a large majority of them were still in memory. The fourth run, again, the apps were kept in memory and they reloaded rather quickly. Alright, so 4 gigs of RAM really does help out a device. Alright, so I believe that pretty much covers all the benchmarks. Yep, we out. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the battery life and the overall charge times. Now, I'll go ahead and throw up my results in post so y'all can see what my particular results were. But for as of right now, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it. Now, one thing that I want to preface before I get into talking about the battery life and the overall charge time is that we all use our devices differently, so everybody's results may vary, okay? We don't all charge our devices when they get to the same percentage. Some of us don't even like charging our devices overnight, so on and so forth. Others may not charge their device fully, so it is what it is. These are just my particular results, and I want to let you guys and gals know that your results may vary if you decide to pick up this device. That being said, talking about the overall charge times on this device, first I gotta tell you that the manufacturer said that this device is supposed to support quick charge. Nope, that's the wrong set of benchmarks. My bad. Scroll up, and there it is. Quick charge. Now, this is the Ampere meter app, and what this does is it measures the charge being pulled in by the device off of the charger, right? And now it spits it out in milliamps per hour. So you can see I tested this multiple times, and this was my last screenshot here. Now, the magical number that I like to look for before I determine whether a device has turbocharging or quick charge or not is 800 milliamps. Okay, I found that if your device charges at over 1800 milliamps or better, you're getting a pretty fast charge. And as you can see, this device came just a little short of hitting that mark there. That being said, when it was plugged in via my turbocharger, I did get the rapid charging icon to pop up. So it did say rapidly charging. Other than that, it did take a good while to charge. Now, on average, it took me anywhere from about 2 hours and 35 minutes to reach a full charge to about 2 hours and 46 minutes, give or take a minute or two. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know, that for my particular testing, I tested 10% to 100% multiple times, 15% to 100% multiple times, 20% to 100% multiple times, and 0% to 100% multiple times. All right. Now, your guys' results may vary in the fact that you may not charge your device to 100. Okay. It may charge faster or slower depending on the cable and brick that you use. And another thing that I want to mention here is that please make sure you're using high quality cables when you charge your devices. High quality cables and bricks when you charge your devices. This way you don't run into any particular issues like charging issues and you don't damage your device. Always use high quality cables, especially if you don't use the included charger and cables that come in the box. So I just wanted to throw that one out there. So that pretty much goes over the overall charge times. Now let's go ahead and talk about the overall battery life. And again, I'll be sure to throw up my stats here so you guys can see the overall run times and the overall screen times as I talk about it. That being said, on average, and I want to preface again that I am an extremely heavy user, so anything that I can do from my smartphone, I will do from my smartphone, okay? And again, your guys' results may vary. But that being said, in terms of the overall battery life, I found that I am easily able to make it through a day on a single charge, and sometimes well into the next day if I'm using the device moderately heavy or lightly, then it's going to last me more than a day. With my style of heavy usage, I'm easily able to get through a 13-hour workday with about 10 to 15% to spare. Now, I generally like to charge my devices when they get down to 10%. That's just what I'm comfortable with. Now, that being said, in terms of screen time, I've found out that I was averaging anywhere from about 7 hours of screen on time to about 12 hours of screen on time if I really needed to push the device. And that is really, really good. Alright, so again, that's just my particular results, and your guys' results may vary. So that's the battery life and the overall charge times. Now let's get into the last part of this review, where we're going to talk about the price. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and a final recommendation or two. So this device, exactly how y'all see it on this video, screen protector, case, and the device itself, full retail came up to about $225 and change. I'll be sure to throw up the actual retail price of the case, tempered glass screen protector, and the device in post, so you guys and gals can see exactly what I paid for this bad boy here. But those of you that are probably wondering, for that price, can I recommend that you guys and gals pick up this device? I'd have to say yes. If you're looking for a device with really great battery life, with really good cameras, and you want a device that has stock software and gets fast updates, then this is a definite pickup here. Okay? So, and another thing I want to mention is that the price on this device fluctuates from about $200 to $250. And I'll be sure to include the links to where to purchase this device, as well as a recommended case, the micro SD card that I would recommend, and the tempered glass screen protector down below in the video description. So down below in the video description should be like a one-stop shop for you guys and gals if this video piques your interest. That being said, I also want to let you guys know that this particular device comes in two different variants. We have a 3 gig of RAM, 32 gigs of onboard storage variant, and then we have the variant y'all see here in this video, which is 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of onboard storage. Now, the 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of onboard storage variant starts off at about $180 and can get as high as about $210. Whereas the 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of onboard storage variant that you guys see here can get as low as $200 and again get as high as $250. So that is a really good price in my opinion, especially if you're not trying to break the bank. Alright, so that pretty much does it for this full review. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you guys and gals did enjoy the video, please help your boy out and give the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. You don't know how much. If you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to hit the subscribe button down below and click off the notification bell icon right next to it so you guys and gals get notified when I post new videos. Alright? That being said, this whole video again was recorded with the Samsung Galaxy S8 in 720p resolution at 30 frames per second, and all the audio that you guys and gals are hearing is being recorded using the Lapel CQ clip-on microphone. So please let me know what you think of the overall quality of the video, audio, and the overall picture down below in the comments. That being said, if you guys and gals have any questions on this device, or there's a question that I didn't answer throughout all of my coverage on this device, please feel free to leave your questions down below in the comments. I do try to answer all of the questions in a timely fashion. Alright, I hope everyone has a great evening, and I'll catch you guys and gals on my next video. Peace, everyone.